All right, kiddos. I'm so excited because here we go. We're going on our trip around the world. We're going to visit each continent. We're going to do a lesson on each continent. Today, we're doing North America. So, in the last lesson, we did the United States. We went all over the United States to all the different regions, and we looked at different foods that come from different regions in the United States. And we also just touched on going around the world and looking at the different foods that come from all different areas of the world. Now, I really want you to start thinking about your world as just a big place that's filled with like just the beauty of nature and different animals and different plants and different foods that come from all these different areas. And I want you to start learning the land masses and which foods come from there and why. We're talking about eating geographically here. We talked before about eating seasonally as the seasons change. And this is talking about why certain foods are native to certain areas of the world, and why you'll see more rice in one area and more wheat in another area, or why you'll see more fish in one area and more beef in another area. So, we're going to get a really great idea of our whole world. We're going to expand our minds and expand our boundaries out from our own home and our own neighborhoods and our own local farmers and our own local area and our own cities and our own states and our own countries. And we're going to start looking at the whole world and see what our friends all around the world eat. After this section, we're going to actually take a trip around the world and see what our friends do eat. So I'll give you lots of pictures of what your friends in South America might be eating for breakfast, what your friends over in China are eating for breakfast, that kind of a thing. But here, I want you to understand a little bit about why certain foods grow in certain areas. And in order to do that, we are going to talk about what staple foods are. So, staple foods are basically foods that make up the majority of a population's diet, and it's usually based on location. So, these are usually plant based. And they're usually very abundant in that region. So, here are four of the most common staple foods in the world. First, we have rice. There's That's probably the biggest staple in all of the world. Rice is grown; it's easy to grow in lots of different areas of the world, and a lot of the population lives on rice. We also have wheat. That's a big one here in the United States. A lot of the population of the world lives on wheat. We have corn. Corn makes up a ton of our foods. There is corn in a lot of different foods of the world, and potatoes. Potatoes are another big one. So, as you can see, all of these things are plant based and they make up a big bulk of the diets in many of the countries of the world. They're usually inexpensive, they're usually abundant, and they usually grow pretty easily in their respective countries. So they're usually a little bit higher calorie because they are meant in nature to provide a lot of energy for the population, for the animals, and for the people. Um, so, what one statistic that I thought was really interesting when I was studying how to teach you guys about staples was that there are over 50,000 edible plants on the earth. So, 50,000 different types of plants that you can eat, but just 15 of them provide 90%, almost all of the world's food energy intake. So that's just amazing. That comes from nationalgeographic.com. You can go there and check out more about that. But let's think about that for a second. 50,000 different types of plants that you can eat, but just 15 of them are the staples of the world. They provide 90% of the food that people eat. So 90% of the food that you eat are these staples that we're going to be studying and learning about: rice, wheat, corn, potatoes. Those are main staples in the world, but there are other staples that are specific to different continents. And we're going to go over all of those as well. These ones right here, rice, corn, and wheat, make up two-thirds of the world's energy intake. So two-thirds of the energy that people get from food comes from rice, corn, and wheat. So imagine that. These staples are so important to the world population and to all the food that all of us all over the world eat. So one thing that I want to teach you here in this geography section, when we're talking about staples and how much of the energy intake and how much of the energy that people get from these staples, is I want you to understand what a calorie is. Okay, in pillar 2 we talk about nutrition. In Be the Boss of Your Own Body, we talk about how food works in your body, and we talk a lot about calories. What a calorie is it's a unit of energy. So when you see something has 100 calories, that means it has 100, or it has one calorie is one energy unit. And we get into more detail about what that means. It's a certain amount of energy that it takes to boil a certain amount of water. But what it is it's an energy unit. So it's not an actual thing. A calorie is not an actual thing in food. It's actually a unit of energy. So if something has 100 calories, think of that as it has 100 units of energy. If something has 500 calories, it has 500 units of energy. So you can start to think about food as energy and food as fuel for your body. And the way to start thinking about this, after we learn where food comes from and where you get your food, I want you to start thinking about how it fuels your body and how you get energy from the food. Back in the first lessons, we talked about photosynthesis, about how plants take energy from the sun to make their own food, and then animals eat those plants, and that energy transfers from the plants into the animals. And then some other animals eat those animals, and they intake and eat the energy from the animals that ate the plants and the plants themselves. So the whole world is just filled with this energy transfer, and that's basically all our food intake and our nutrition is energy, is how much energy we're taking in and how much energy our body uses. So remember this, we'll talk about it more in the courses in pillar 2 and Be the Boss of Your Own Body, but 1 calorie of food equals one energy unit. Okay, so here is a basic overview of what staples are. We're going to go into North America, and I give you in each of these lessons, I give you a map of the world. So on the bottom here, you'll see a map of the whole world, and the black arrows are pointing to where we're talking about right now, which is North America. Then right above that, you'll see just North America. And so we can look at the different countries and how many different countries are in each continent. So in North America here, the main countries we have are Canada in the dark green, America, the United States of America in the light green, and then Mexico in the orange. And then underneath Mexico, we have Central America, which consists of several other countries, smaller countries like Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, lots of different countries down there. So if you're interested in geography like I am, get your mom or dad to pull out a map and you can look more at all the different countries of North America. But for right now, we're talking about food in Sizzle Kids. So we're going to talk about some of the food that is here. One fun fact that I wanted to show you guys here, more of the Earth's surface is covered by wheat than any other crop. So, wheat is the most abundant crop grown in the whole entire world. So, I thought that was kind of interesting. I thought I'd share that with y'all. So, here in each one of these continents, I'm going to show you the staples that are typical to this continent. Now, this is not all the staples that grow on this continent. It's just some of the more popular ones, some of the bigger ones. I'm going to show you the land so that you can understand why these staples grow so easily here. I'm going to show you the weather. We're going to talk just a little bit about the weather, and we're going to talk about how these plants get their water. All plants need three things to grow, right? They need sun, and they need water, and they need soil. Or if you're doing hydroponics, they just need water to grow in, but they need something to grow in. But sun and water, plants will die if they aren't watered. So when we get into some other areas of the world that are drier and have less water, you get different kinds of crops there. So here in North America, the main staples are corn and wheat. We make a lot of corn here, a lot of wheat. When we went back, let's go back real quick and look at the United States. This Midwest region area here, the kind of orange brown region, this is where a lot of the corn and the wheat are grown in the United States. It's right here in the middle of the country, and it's flatlands. If you look over here, the lands are flat and open. There's not big mountains here. In the west part of the United States, here, let's go back and look at the United States. Here, if you look in the blue area, that's the Rocky Mountain region. That's filled with mountains. Mountains that get snow. You can't grow things there. But over a little ways into the Midwest region, all this area is flat and there's no mountains there. And it's perfect land for growing food. And so that's where the corn and the wheat grow the best. And so you can see the pictures here, corn in the green and the wheat in the brown. And that's what it looks like in the Midwest. It just goes on for miles and miles and miles. No mountains, not a lot of hills, just a lot of big open flat area that's just perfect for growing corn and wheat. The weather there in the Midwest, where a lot of the corn and the wheat grow in the North American continent, is seasonal. Uh, we have, they'll have snow in the winter and, sun in the summer. So it's very seasonal. You'll get all four seasons. And if you're interested in what grows best in what season, go back to one of the lessons earlier and you can look up what grows when in all the different seasons. But everything grows here in the Midwest in one season or another. For water, how they get their water, they get a lot of rain in this area. But they also use irrigation. So irrigation is man-made sprinklers and there's all kinds of very complex irrigation techniques that these areas use to water their corn and their wheat and all the other staples that grow there. So rain and irrigation. I wanted to give you this fun little look at North America and some of the typical meals that you would find in North America. Now, I use the United States. I know there's different things in Canada, different things in Mexico, so many things in all different areas. The regions are just very diverse. This is just a very typical example of some things you might find in America. So, if for breakfast we've got pancakes, we've got eggs, we've got bacon, we've got hash browns, right? Typical breakfast you might find at some kind of American diner anywhere in the country. For lunch, we've got hamburgers, hot dogs, and French fries. I think the United States is pretty well known for those foods. For dinner, steak, potatoes, salad. I think that's a pretty typical dinner. And again, when you're in different regions of the United States, you're going to get different things. In Maine, where they have a lot of lobsters, you might substitute the steak for a lobster. But typically, this is just a steak dinner. It's very typical of the American diet. For snacks, I just showed you a picture of potato chips. Lots of different snacks, obviously. Potato chips is a big one, maybe a little bit too big sometimes, but potato chips are good. So, and then desserts, I just have ice cream here. Ice cream is really popular dessert in the United States. Again, in the different regions of the country, you're going to have all kinds of different things. In the South, they have all kinds of amazing desserts. In the Midwest, all these pies. Um, Gosh, they have special desserts down in Louisiana, down here. Special desserts in the Southwest region, churros and flan. And in Louisiana, they may have blintzes or all kinds of different things everywhere. So these are just examples. Just start to get your wheels going in your mind about the different continents and the different foods you might find on there. So this is just a fun little look at some of the very, very prototypical things that you might find in this continent. And one other thing that I wanted to tell you, and so you can understand, there's 23 countries in North America. So a lot of times people think of North America as Canada, the United States, and Mexico. That's only three. There's 20 other countries that are considered part of the North American continent. And that includes all of these Central American countries here, right below Mexico. It includes all the Caribbean countries, which are over here to the left of Central America. And all of these countries are part of North America. So it's not just Canada, the US, and Mexico. There's 23 different countries in North America. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I wanted you to learn that. All right, guys. So here we have the different kinds of food you might see. This slide is what I really want you to understand about the staples. We're going to go through all the continents and learn about the staples in each continent. And basically, I just want you to understand what staple foods are because they make up 90% of everyone's diet. All right, guys. Next, we're going to go to South America. So meet me over there.